Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing today? I hope you're all having a great day. Today, I have a great story for you. It's full of adventures. It's about a farmer and his son. The farmer and his son were so kind and so happy in their beautiful big farm. But first, let's talk about something. Do you respect your parents? And do you treat them as good as you should do? You know that your parents love you very much, so you have to treat them always greatly. There's nothing that they wouldn't do for you. Well, let's talk no more and go to the story. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a farmer lived with his son. The farmer loved his son so much, and his son was so strong and so kind. He would always help his father, and his father was so proud of his son. They had a beautiful big farm. The farm was full of trees, it was full of flowers, and it was full of color and love. There was an orchard next to the farm, and the son would always go there to play. He would always climb up the trees and eat from the delicious and juicy apples. They were so happy, and every day was a great day for them. But someone was not so happy. It was the king of underground. The king of underground was always sitting in a cold seat, and there was no sun and there were no people. The people on the underground were so cruel, and the king was so sad too. He wanted a friend. He wanted to laugh for real. But there were no sun and there were no friends there. One day, while he was sitting in his throne, he thought to himself, it would be great if I could have only one friend in here. Then something came to his mind. He knew that up the ground there are a lot of people. So he thought to himself, I will go up the ground and I will find someone to bring him down here. He wore the clothes of a poor man, and he went up the ground. The field suddenly opened, and the king of underground was up the ground. He saw the sun and he saw the beautiful trees. He was so excited. He thought that it would be so great for me to live here. But he knew that he was the king of underground. Suddenly the ground shaken, and he was up the ground. He saw all of the beautiful trees up there, and the sunshine was shining on his shoulders. He thought to himself, it's beautiful, and I'm sure that I can find a friend here. So he walked and walked and walked until he saw an orchard, and there he saw a strong man with a kind face. He thought to himself that he will be a good friend, but he didn't know what to say. He stood there with his poor clothes on. After some time, the sun noticed him. So he thought to himself, maybe this poor guy is hungry and he cannot tell anything. So he took some apples and he took them to the king of the underground. He went there and said, "Hello, I have some apples for you. Are you hungry?" The king of underground was so happy to see that the son was so humble and so kind. He said, "Okay, I will accept, but will you come somewhere with me?" The son didn't know what to say. He said, "Okay, I will come." Suddenly, the ground shaken up, and it was open, and both of them were underground. The son was so surprised. What was happening? Well, do you want to know the rest of the story? Do you want to know that what will happen to the son? Stay with me. I'll be back after a short break, and I will tell you what will happen in our wonderful story. Welcome back. Now, if you remember, the king of underground took the son down the ground. The son was so surprised and he was so sad. What was happening? He went there and said, "You didn't say you were taking me to the underground?" The king of underground said, "See, it's my kingdom. We're here and we can be friends with each other. Will you just stay with me for a while? I'm so lonely here." The son thought that maybe he should stay because he saw that the king was so sad. He said, "Okay, but only for a few days." The king was so happy that he could find a new friend. Days passed and passed. One day, the son went to the king of underground and said, "Can I go up now? I know that my father is so worried for me." But the king of underground said, "No, I won't let you go. You don't know how lonely I was before. I don't want to lose you." The boy said, "But this is not my home." The king of underground liked the boy and wanted to have a friend there. So he got angry and said, "No, you're not gonna leave." The son was so sad. He didn't know what to do. So he decided to escape on himself. He went out to the doorway, and suddenly he saw a big dog with 3 heads. He was so scared. He didn't know what to do. So he ran back quickly. There were no one there, and there was always dark and there were no sun. He couldn't even plant anything because the ground was so cold and no seed was growing. He was so lonely and sad that over days he tried to befriend the dog with 3 heads. The dog was lonely too, and although he scared the boy at first, but he befriended the boy. Days passed and passed, and they were all lonely down there. In the meanwhile, the farmer up the ground was so sad. He missed his boy, and he didn't know what was happening to him. He was so worried. Days after days, he tried to find his boy, but there was no sign of him. He thought to himself, "I will go to the king of the land. He sees everything, so he must have seen what had happened to my son." He went to the king. The king knew why the farmer was there. So before the farmer said anything, he said, "I know, you're looking for your boy, aren't you?" The farmer said, "Yes. Have you heard anything?" The king said, "I saw him. The king of underground took him, and there is no use. How can you get him back? The king of underground never gives up what he takes underground." The farmer said, "What do you mean? You mean I cannot see my boy again?" He said, "I'm sorry, but that's the way it's done." The farmer got so sad. He went to his farm crying, and he missed his boy so much. Suddenly, an idea came to his mind. He knew how to save his boy. What do you think that will happen next? Well, just wait for a few minutes and I'll be back after a short break and I will tell you. Alright, my dear Hodhod friends. Now, if you remember, the king of underground took the son down the ground. And the son was so sad there. He couldn't plant anything, couldn't talk to anyone except for the dog with 3 heads and the king of underground. It was getting so lonely. And the king of underground noticed that the son was so sad too. But he didn't want to lose his friend. So he had to keep him down there. In the meanwhile, his father was searching for him, but there was no use until that the king of upground told him that his son was taken away by the king of underground. And he said that there is no use. You cannot see your boy again. The farmer knew what to do. He would go to the king of the kings. He went to a big golden castle. There were a lot of guards there. He passed the guards and he saw the king of the kings. The king of the kings knew the story. So he went there and said, "You want to get your boy, don't you?" The farmer said, "Yes. The king of the ground told me that we cannot find him anymore. But I know that you can help me, can't you?" The king of the kings said, "It would be hard, but I think that I might be able to help you." He took his thunderbolt and went with the farmer. They went to the orchard when the king of underground took the son. Suddenly, the ground opened and they went under. On the way, the king of the kings told the farmer, "I will help you, but if he had eaten any fruit of the underground, he wouldn't be able to come up the ground ever." The farmer said, "Okay, I hope that he hadn't done so." The king of the kings wanted to help the father for another reason, because he knew that since the son was missing, all of the ground was full of coldness and snow. No plant would grow, and it was like an eternal winter. So he wanted to help the farmer to make him happy so that the plants would grow one more time. They went there and the farmer saw his boy. He was so happy to see his boy again. And the boy was so happy too. They cried and cried and cried. The king of the kings went to the king of underground, and he told him, "I am here to take away this son. You shouldn't have taken him in the first place. Now that he's away, the farmer is always sad, and the ground is full of snow. Nothing will grow anymore." The king of underground said, "I'm sorry. I didn't have any bad intentions. I was just so lonely down here. Okay, you can take him up." He was so sad, but he knew that it was the right thing to do. Suddenly, something came to his mind. He went to the boy and said, "Now that you're leaving, can I give you a gift?" The boy went with the king of underground, and the king of underground gave him 6 seeds of pomegranate. The boy said, "Okay, what do I do? Do I plant it?" He said, "No, you have to eat it." So the boy ate the 6 seeds of pomegranate, and then he went with his father. He was so happy that he was standing on the ground. He saw the sunshine and the beautiful apple orchard. His father was so happy too. Suddenly, the ground started to shake, and the king of underground came outside of the ground with black horses and a dark carriage. They didn't know what did he want. What do you think that he wants? Well, stay with me. I'll be back after a short break and I will tell you what will happen. Okay, my dear Hodhod friends. Now, if you remember, the boy was finally reunited with his father. But suddenly, the ground started shaking up, and the king of the underground came to the upground. What did he want? The king of the kings went to him and said, "Can you just leave them alone and go under there?" He said, "I can't." He ate a fruit from underground, so he has to be back. The king of the kings got so sad. He knew about the rule, but he wanted to find some way to keep the boy off the ground. He said, "What did he eat?" The king of underground said, 6 seeds of pomegranate. Suddenly, the king of the kings came up with an idea. He said, "I know that you're lonely, but you have to know that the farmer needs his son. He's his son and he have to be with his father." The king of underground said, "But these are the rules. You have to give me the boy." The king of the kings said, "Okay, the son will come underground only 6 months of the year because he only ate 6 seeds of pomegranate." The king of underground thought that it was fair, so he accepted. From that time on, whenever the sun goes down to the underground, it's winter outside. And whenever he comes up the ground, the farmer is happy and there's summer and spring and the sun shines warmer. Did you like this story? I enjoyed it very much. But I'm not finished yet. So I'll be back after a short break and I will tell you about the morals of the story. Welcome back! Now I'm here with the lessons of the story. First of all, you should know that you have to treat your parents very well because they love you more than anything in the world and they would do anything for you to be happy. You saw the farmer in the story? He would do anything for his son to come back to him. So the son had to be kind to him as well. And I know that all of you are so kind to your parents too. Another important thing is that you should never go anywhere with the strangers. If the son had refused the proposal of the king of the underground, he would be never taken from his father. You have to know that you should always listen to your parents' advices. And I know that one of their advices is to never go anywhere with the strangers. So keep this in your minds. The other lesson in this story is that you have to be kind to everyone. You shouldn't leave them alone. You should try to give your kindness to everyone that you see, especially the people that don't have any friends. You saw how sad and lonely the king of underground was? He didn't know what to do, so he did a bad thing and stole the boy from his father. But if he had friends and if the people of underground were good to him, this would have never happened. Now, that's all for today. I'm gonna miss you so much, but I know that I will see you next time tomorrow. If you want to contact us, you can visit our pages in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Telegram. You can find us at Hodhod English TV. You can also visit our site, hodhodenglish.tv. Tune in tomorrow and I will be back with beautiful stories and beautiful lessons. But for now, so long!